when I came in 1967, I decided to go picket at a young kid basically, to bring down the flag. And I was the first person to picket to bring down the flag, even though I was in South Carolina for one day. That's me and Hillary Clinton. I think she brought some kind of federal award to me. I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and at an early age, around maybe 14 years old, I was part of a gang, a street gang. My mother never knew, my father never knew. But Dr. King came to New Orleans during that period. We had just started the civil rights movement. When I met Dr. King, some of his staff members, knew who I was, because they did interviews in New Orleans to find out who would be good in organizing young people for the struggle in Louisiana and in the South. And since I was a little gang leader, I was one of the persons they chose. Most of the heavyweight in the civil rights movement was done by young people. The movement that probably everybody benefit from, which is public accommodation, all that was done by kids 15, 16, even 13 years old. So I went to high school in Louisiana, Carver High School. Then I got a football scholarship to several colleges, but I chose Grambling State University in Grambling, Louisiana. But I also was in the civil rights movement, and so basically that scholarship was waste because I had to go and demonstrate. I figured that was more important than running up and down the field. And so the coach, Eddie Robertson, said that was the most useless scholarship he ever gave. Well, because I was in the movement, and I thought that was more important. We were second and third class citizens. We didn't have no basic rights. And so it was easy to make a decision. Either you're going to accept this for the rest of your life, or you're going to get involved with trying to change it. Came to Charleston in 1969 for the hospital strike. Prior to that, I was arrested maybe 62 times before I came to South Carolina in 69. In South Carolina, I was arrested about 7 times during the hospital workers strike. What happened then was that 1,200 black women walk off their job at the Medical University of South Carolina, and incidentally, one of the biggest headaches in South Carolina now, as related to blacks being mistreated on their job, is the Medical University of South Carolina. After the hospital strike, I did a lot of stuff around the country for George McGovern and other issues. In 1971, I was back in Charleston. I went to a city council meeting, and the mayor of the city at that time was J. Palmer Gilliard, and he did some annexation. He brought in a lot of James Island, a lot of West Ashley areas. Everybody he brought in for about maybe 5 years was white, no blacks. One city council meeting, I got up and said that Mayor Gilliard and members of the city council, all white city council, what y'all done tonight is illegal based on the 1965 Voters' Rights Bill. He looked at the attorney said, don't worry about that. So I was classified as a black militant. I wasn't a black militant because I was a part of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and at that time working for the United Methodist Church as a community developer. That led to my protest going to Washington, D.C., to the Justice Department, and in 1 week's time, the Justice Department sent agents to Charleston. They interviewed me, and we came up with a single-member district plan. I ran in one of those districts and won, and that was in 1973. And I was on city council for 18 years, and then in 1992, I was elected to South Carolina State Senate. And I consider myself now probably one of the most productive elected officials in the country. I went in with a platform, and part of that platform was the Confederate flag. In 1962, they put those flags up. It was 4. One in the South Carolina House, one in the Senate, one in the lobby of the Capitol, and one on top of the Capitol Dome. So I introduced a bill to resolve all of that, take those flags down, period. And those were the 4 flags that we was against, because those 4 flags was carried by the Confederate Army, and that's the flag that the hate groups used, the Ku Klux Klan. The flag they took down a few months ago during the Emanuel 9 situation was a Navy Jack flag. Really didn't have no meaning or history. So my flag had the history and meaning. So that's the first bill I introduced. Every year for 21 years, I introduced stuff to fix up the roads and bridges in this state. Every year for the past 16 years, Morris College, Benedict College, Voorhees College, Allen University get $635,000 a year. After 16 years, that's over $10 million apiece. I'm responsible for that. Incidentally, now they hadn't said thank you, Robert Ford yet. But I'm proud of that effort because that's helping thousands of kids every year get a good education. I do a lot of stuff in the community, but I'm out, and they still in. I got a public service account, I got a personal account, and then I got the campaign account. The mistake I made, even though it was not a mistake, I deposited the money in my account. I'm not a bookkeeper. So let's say I made some mistakes in what I deposited with, but it's still my personal money. Now, the Senate decided that they need a guinea pig because Nikki Haley, the governor, who had 9 major violations, ethics violations, and nothing happened to her, she decided that she didn't have no issues, so she's going to crack down on the General Assembly. I was sacrificed by the Senate. And the reason I was sacrificed because I support Democratic issues, I support Republican issues that are going to benefit this state and this community. I support those issues. Incidentally, when they came after me, we discovered that everybody in the Senate and the General Assembly had 1,000 times worse reports and ethics violation than I did. And nobody else will ever be charged with ethics violation again because there's no laws. They threw everything out once they got rid of me. And I've been catching hell with all my punishment came within. I'm punishing myself. But the people always supported me. That's why I decided to offer myself again. It's about 4 or 5 issues that I got to do for me to feel good about. And that's the biggest one is I need about $75 million for South Carolina State. That's why I wear their jacket. Because that school, for the past 100 years, has been neglected by the General Assembly. If you look at all the campuses in this state, which is 32 of them, the one that's been neglected the most, of course, was South Carolina State and Denmark Tech. Denmark Tech is owned by the taxpayers. Every technical school in this state have new buildings, except who? Denmark Tech. Every college, 4-year college in this state have brand new beautiful buildings, except who? South Carolina State. So I figure $75 million will help that school go a long way. Every county in South Carolina should have a 1-note type high school. You could become a beautician, a barber, engineer, a mechanic, a machinist. Anything you want to do in life, you could leave 1-note high school with that background and start working the next day. And I figure nobody else in the state is going to be able to do it because they don't have no guts. Elected officials are gutless. They don't want to take chances. I would feel good retiring from life, you might say, because then I know that what we did in Selma and the fact that I was arrested 7 times, I would be happy about the fact that I sacrificed my whole life for this kind of stuff. All of the communities I work with in the civil rights movement, I chose South Carolina. The people are great and lovable. I like serving them, and so this is why I decided to run for office at age 67 to go back in the lion's den and fight those lions.